I'd like to talk to you about the NACD evaluation process. In truth, evaluation really isn't a good term to describe what we do. If you will, it's a meeting between our evaluators and the parents and the child to help us understand the child. In that process, we create a developmental profile, but it's not an evaluation in the typical sense of the word evaluation. The goal is not to produce a label or a diagnosis. There may be some scores involved, but that certainly isn't the goal. The goal is to help us all understand the child. And to complete that process, there are a number of factors that are significant. First off, when I conduct an evaluation, have the meeting, I'm totally focused on that child. If it's a new evaluation, a new child, from the moment I pick up that history form to begin that process that day, my focus is 100% on crawling into that child's head, understanding that child, and understanding that child in the perspective of that child's family. I read the history form immediately before I see the family. I do that so that I can, as I'm seeing the family, recall all the information in that form. So I have that frame of reference with which to approach the discussion with the family or looking at the child. If you're paying attention to the materials and things we're sending out, we look at a child from the Gestalt perspective. All right, the Gestalt perspective means the entire child, and saying that meaning that the child is more than the sum of their pieces. And they are as a unique individual. They're also that child in that family, that child in that school. It's a whole big conglomerate, if you will. And the process is a process by which we try to understand that as much as we possibly can. The little pieces are, if you will, relatively secondary to understanding the big picture. All right, understanding where the global function is, understanding where the issues are, and then, if you will, we look at the child from the top down, meaning we look to see where the functional issues are, and then we look to find out the cause of those issues. We don't start at the bottom up. Our developmental profiles, if you look at them, start at level 1 and go up to level 7, if you will, from the bottom up. But we actually look at the child, we look at the child from the top down. All right, what are the problems, and particularly what are the problems as perceived by the parent? And then looking at that child's pieces to determine what the cause is, what is actually broken, what is it we have to fix, if you will, what is it we have to develop. And then with that basis, and again in the frame of reference of everything going on in the child's life, we attempt to design a program to get us started with that child. And the view often, sadly, of some of the families is we've given them a program, and sadly some families don't understand that every program is different. You could go through every file we have in our building for every child, and I don't think you would find the same program twice. Right? Because every child is different, every situation is different. We've got over 3,000 different components we utilize to put into programs and create new ones all the time. The program is a dynamic program. And the program you get initially is to get you started. And our expectation is that we're going to have a lot of communication, And we are going to change the program, tweak the program, modify the program as often as we need to be successful. And that means such things, you get a program toward the end of summer, and that program is something that's reasonable to do in the summer, and then Johnny starts school, and you have significantly less time to do program. We need to talk about how much time you have and modify the program based on that reality. And that may mean we change priorities a little bit because we don't have enough time to address everything. We're going to prioritize and modify the program accordingly. All right, that also means, that we may have to look at the child's day and have an honest discussion with you in terms of how much time there is, how many things are going on in the child's day, and what things we need to modify, what things maybe change, not just in program, in terms of what's happening the entire day for the child. So that's important, that you understand that it is dynamic. If we're doing a revisit meeting, often we have videos to watch on the child, and if I'm going to watch those videos, I'm going to do it kind of like I do with a history forum. Just I want to look at all those videos immediately prior to seeing the child or doing the Skype eval with the child. I want all that information at once. And again, once I start that process, I want to be 100% focused on that child and all the pieces and all the components. All right, so I will watch all those videos immediately prior to doing the Skype eval or seeing the child if I have them. And then I need the revisit form filled out as comprehensively as possible. The more information on that form, the more data I have to evaluate what changes I'm seeing or not seeing. All right, is this because what we were doing wasn't achieving the results, or is it because Johnny wouldn't cooperate with those activities of the program, or our mom didn't do those activities of the program? That's really important data. Otherwise we are trying to modify the program to fit your child with inadequate data. We're guessing. Right? So it's very important, that we have a lot of information. We want to know specifically what changes you're seeing, what changes you're not seeing, what the scores are, where the child is in his books, what he likes, what he doesn't like. We want to know program activities that are going well, that you think are, working properly. We want to know those things that Johnny won't cooperate with or you don't like doing, whatever. The more data we have, particularly at that eval, at that meeting, the better job we can do to determine what do we need to change, modify, prioritize to push things forward and achieve everyone's goals as fast as we possibly can. Part of this is you understanding that in NACD, we do not perceive ourselves as being these professionals who are going to dictate what you're going to do. We perceive our role as being partners with you. And your job as a partner is you, in fact, know your child better than anyone on the planet. Our job is we have years and years and years and millions of hours of experience. All right, and we put those two pieces together. We as a team can really, really make things happen for most of the kids. And it's vital that we work that way as a team. I've had some occasions to view and learn from what other kinds of practitioners are doing. And one of the things that was interesting to me is I would listen to them after they had completed their series of treatments, and they would go through a debriefing with the child and the family. And the debriefing would often be this thing like, Johnny, do you think you can pay better attention? And you listen, Johnny, well, no, not really. Can you listen better to your teacher in the classroom? Oh, no. not really. Do you think you're doing better at school? Oh, no, not really. And they would keep going and going and asking the same question about 10 different ways until Johnny finally got to a point where he got it. Oh, I better say I'm doing better. I'm never going to get out of here. We maybe to some degree can score some things and measure some things being better, but for the most part, the parents tell us what's better. All right. The people who know the child best, the people who are living with the child, you know what the results are. You know if your child's doing better, getting better. Now, if you're relying on some professional generally to tell you that your child has improved, there's not much improvement. You can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't smell it, and you can't feel it. Probably hasn't been terribly significant. So your input, your information, your awareness, your knowledge of your child is critical to the process. So I think, if we're all doing our jobs, I think the odds of us producing and having significant change is really, really good. So please help us help you by giving us all the information you can. If we need videos, please send us videos. Please complete your revisit forms in as much detail as you possibly can. Please, on an ongoing basis, share with us what you're seeing. Okay, this is dynamic. It needs to be dynamic. You need to be an active participant in this process. If we all do that, I think we can do great. Okay, thanks.